Well, we were just in Houston with Janae Bridges, and let's just go across town to another artist who's in Houston right now. Jon Kimura Parker, come on in and join me.
Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm well. Jon Kimura Parker, people call you Jackie. Jackie, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm hunkered down here in Houston with my wife Aloysia and my amazing mother-in-law Lila, who just turned 99 last month. And we have our dog Ricky in the house and our cats Oscar and Scout. So it's actually an isolated group of six here. My daughter Sophie attends Rice University and is living off campus just a few blocks from here. So we're all close at hand.
Yeah, and is Sophie with you or not able to be with you?
Well, she's off campus and she has a couple of roommates, and she's been attending classes, of course, online, and I've been teaching my piano students at Rice online also. And that's just become a really, nobody expected this, of course, but it's become a very big part of our now collective experience, this idea of being alone together.
Being alone together just the way you and I are right now, with hundreds and hundreds of people watching all around the world too. So you mentioned that this has affected you as a teacher. You're a professor at the Shepherd School of Music at Rice University. How about as a performer? How has this all affected you?
Well, the first thing that happened is I really lost my motivation to practice, which I hate to admit, but I'm very goal oriented, and I have a concert coming up and I start to prepare for it. And my first concerts were with my trio, the Montrose Trio in Italy, which of course we had to cancel. And then I no longer had a reason to practice the Chausson Concerto for Chamber Music Society at Lincoln Center. And eventually I had no more reason to practice the Beethoven all five concertos to play with Symphony Nova Scotia. And I mean, the sort of final blow, which was already now a week and a half ago, was final for now. My tour of Australia with the great violinist Cho Leong Lin, who's also across town here in Houston and a very close friend of mine. And we were really looking forward to that tour. I happened to speak to Garrick Olson yesterday. It was his birthday, and he had just returned from that same tour in Australia and had an absolutely great time. So that's one of many things I hope will be rebooked. But what I'm really noticing during this period, and even hearing Manny speak about enjoying opera, is I think people are maybe realizing in a way that they never had before the incredible value of the creative people in our community and the incredible value of artists. And I mean, so many millions of people have lost jobs and livelihood, and we all hope that that's temporary. But thinking of artists, musicians, it's very, very difficult. And for them to get their livelihood back is something that does have to happen when this crisis is over. And I think that's something that I'm so incredibly grateful to everyone at ART and for putting all of this together. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, ART, Artist Relief Tree, is the group that has put this all together. You're right there at the piano. What can you play for us?
Well, yeah, I'm right here at the piano, but I want to just be really honest up front. I almost never play this piano. It's the only piano. It's the only piano I own, but I have two really beautiful Steinway Bs in my studio at Rice, and this lid has not been raised in, I think, 15 years. And I had to clear a lot of things off of it to be able to do that. And then earlier today, I was practicing, and this piece came off the one of the Gs. I'm not going to tell you which one because I don't want to jinx anything, but this is going to be interesting. I have three short pieces I'd like to play, contrasting in character. And the first one I'd like to play because, there's a certain comfort for musicians in revisiting music that we've lived with for a very long time. And it's now that it's officially, even in Hawaii, you were mentioning earlier, it's morning. I think it must be starting to get dark everywhere. So I wanted to play a nocturne, and this is by the great Norwegian composer Edvard Grieg with the very simple and descriptive title Nocturno.
Played for us by Jon Kimura Parker.
You know, there's something about that piece that sounds Norwegian, and I've never quite been able to put my finger on it. It's something about a ninth chord, or a theory professor could tell me for sure. The second piece of the three pieces that I'm going to play is one that speaks to the human spirit. In fact, ideally, I'd be playing all 24 of the Chopin preludes because they reflect the human spirit in a way that I think in some ways only music can. One of the reasons I feel so strongly about the livelihood of musicians surrounding me. But I'm just going to play the last one, so that's kind of cheating a little bit, but somehow the this idea of the strength and the power of the human spirit, Chopin was able to encapsulate in just 2.5 minutes. There's a 3-note motif in the right hand, there's a turbulent repeated figure in the left hand, and this is one very powerful piece of music, the 24th Prelude by Frédéric Chopin. And now I'd like to finish with one of my favorite encores. It's sometimes after a big piano concerto, it's a way that I can even unwind on stage and that the audience can take a collective breath before heading out for intermission. And it's the title of the piece says it all in this very difficult time. The piece is named Solace. And of the entire Scott Joplin rag Solace, the chorus is my favorite part, and I'd like to play that for you now. Thank you.
I think that piano is doing just fine under your hands.
I am really happy to be playing my piano at home again. I have to say, it's an amazing experience.
That's Jon Kimura Parker at home in Houston. He just played a piece by Scott Joplin for us called Solace, Solace, Solace. Perfect piece for right now and right here and for what we're doing, raising money for artists who are hurting because of the COVID-19 crisis.
I
Jackie,
have
I
to
just
say,
got to, oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have so many associations with different arts organizations, including all the presenters. I mean, I feel like I hope I've never in my life taken a presenter for granted who's put on a concert and invited me to play. And I've also been the artistic advisor for the Orcas Island Chamber Music Festival, which my wife founded 23 years ago. And I'm the artistic director of the Honans International Piano Competition and Festival. I'm the creative partner for summer programming at Orchestra Hall with the Minnesota Orchestra, and all of these organizations are so close to my heart, but every organization right now in the arts is close to my heart.
Well, some of those folks are watching and listening right now. In fact, we got a comment from the folks at Honans up in Canada. This is a competition and festival, piano competition and festival in Canada, where you're the artistic director. They say, listening with your Honans peeps in Calgary. And here's a message, from your kitchen, from Aloysia, your wife, who says, bravo to everyone and thank you. From our kitchen to the living room where Jackie is playing, I hope you'll be able to do more. This just in, I think not from your kitchen, but one of our viewers named Rachel Sokolov says, love the Joplin, perfect for tonight and for this moment. Thank you. And Jon Kimura Parker, thank you so much for your musicianship and your time and your energy on behalf of artists across the country tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
My great pleasure and my great honor. Thank you, Fred.
That's Jon Kimura Parker joining us from his home in Houston. And stick around, we've got some music coming to us from Chicago. From her home in Chicago, Rachel Barton Pine will be joining us in just a moment. And just in case folks are just joining us, we're here for ART, this new organization that was founded just about 3 weeks ago by a group of arts professionals who saw what was happening so quickly to artists around the world as gigs just went away and went away and went away, and put together this organization very, very quickly to raise money for artists who need it, for whom sometimes this month's gigs are this month's rent, this month's groceries. And that's where all the money being raised tonight and throughout this entire campaign is going. It's going straight to artists. There's much more on the ART website. That's Artist Relief Tree, ART, artist, singular, artistrelieftree.com. And all the information about the organization and the administration of all these funds is right there. There's great transparency on the website, artistrelieftree.com. Let's see, we've got some more comments coming in. Hal Dixler enjoyed that piano and says, the treble twitters like a lovebird. Andrew Crooks, one of the founders of Artist Relief Tree, is in New Zealand and is watching from New Zealand. And Andrew says, quite incredible that I can be sitting here in New Zealand experiencing this. Thank you all again. Allison Coyne Carroll, who runs a music series at Middlebury College in Vermont, says, thank you, MKI artists, ART, Fred, and all the artists for bringing music to our homes. Bravo from Middlebury. Daniel Kellogg says, greetings from Dan Kellogg and from everyone at Young Concert Artists. Bravo for a great evening. Annabelle and Turk sent this message a few minutes ago when Janae Bridges sang for us. They say, hello from the San Francisco Opera Prop Department. It was wonderful, Janae, to see you participating in this concert. Just a few of the comments coming in. And if you're just joining us, you can write comments in that little box on the lower right. It has a little picture of a pencil. And I think you can see the cursor flashing down there. And even as we're talking, if you have any questions for Rachel Barton Pine, feel free to toss them to her or to me. we'll get to them just as quickly as we can. And let's go to Chicago right now, where the violinist Rachel Barton Pine is standing by. Rachel, great to see you.
Great to see you.
Oh, and okay, I see a couple of figures back there, right in the back of your shot. And because I know what you're about to play, I think there's a connection here. Tell us about these two behind you.
Well, just as you suspected, it's Abbott and Costello and doing their famous Who's on First routine. They actually do it. If you plug them in, they open their mouths and turn their heads and raise their arms, and you hear a recording of the original routine. So pretty cool. I got it from my husband for Christmas one year, and because I'm about to play what I'm about to play, I thought, okay, instead of putting Brahms or somebody on the piano, it's got to be those guys.
Your husband, Greg, who's not only a big baseball fan, but was a professional baseball player himself.
Yep, he was a minor league pitcher back in his youth, and I'm sad to say that he knows a lot more about music than I do about sports. We probably would have rejected each other on an online dating service, but luckily we met in person.
And so what was his special? Was he more fastball or curveball pitcher, do you know?
His off-speed pitches were really what he was great at.
Those are the pitchers I really admire. Yeah. The Greg Maddux type pitchers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
actually,
Rachel,
there was one time when Maddux was there and at Wrigley in our hometown, and Kerry Woods was pitching for the Cubs, and his dad asked him, well, which team are you rooting for? Because he knew that Greg loved Greg Maddux. And my husband goes, well, I'm just rooting for the pitchers.
Two perfect games is what we're rooting for. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, opening day was supposed to be 9 days ago.
Yeah. I'm a big baseball fan too. So there's no baseball to go see or to watch on TV, but we have you, Rachel. What are you going to play for us?
Well, I actually wrote this last summer when I happened to be doing a recital in none other than Cooperstown, New York. And I thought, well, I have to do something special. So I came up with this little arrangement that I call A Day at the Ballpark.
I can't wait to hear it. This is Rachel Barton Pine, live from her home in Chicago.